Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the MiniTerrainDomain Twitch channel. I am not Jake. I am Jeremy. I run a YouTube channel called the Erasmus Expeditions. I stole the keys. Jacob left them on the outside. This analogy is kind of running away. Anyways, we're here tonight to play some Dungeons & Dragons. This is a mini campaign called Convergence. This takes place in a homebrew world of mine called Arrath, where there are two sides, a hot side and a cold side. As you can tell by the lovely aurora behind me, this is the cold side. This is session 2 of the cold side. Tonight's episode is going to be titled The Tranquility of Dotage. I'm very excited to get back to this. This was a lot of fun with the first session. The other side of the planet has been going very, very well, and can't wait to continue this story. But before I do, there's a couple of points of business that I need to go over before we can get started. The first of which is, if mature subject matter and mature language or immature puns are a problem for you, then you really should not watch this game, this campaign, or anything else that I touch, honestly. But if you don't find yourself bothered by those things, then welcome, kindred spirit. We're happy to have you. Speaking of kindred spirits, there are partners, 2 of them, here on the MiniTerrainDomain channel. The first of which is Jasper's Game Day, which I believe kicks off, if not this weekend, then like the beginning of this coming week. And they are a fantastic organization that tries to raise awareness awareness for suicide and for the prevention of suicide. They're a fantastic organization. I've had the pleasure of playing in Jasper's the last 2 years, and I'll be playing in a game this Thursday with some of the regular Dawnbringers crew, and I'm very excited for that game. It's going to be super duper silly. The second partner here on the channel is the Initiative Coffee Company, and I believe there is a way that you can buy a bag of Metadare roast coffee and support Jasper's Game Day. I don't know if there's a promotional code that you have to use or not. It might just be buying that specific blend. But if you drink coffee, go get coffee from them. Last but not least, there is also a sponsor for the channel, Talon & Claw. They make wooden dice accessories. Dice accessories? Yes. Dice accessories, as well as other role-playing game accessories. DM screens, things like that. And I think they have a Kickstarter coming soon. I don't know if it's started yet or not, but they're doing gemstone dice, I believe, and they're gorgeous from the pictures that I have seen on Twitter. They're very, very beautiful dice. So, excellent stuff. Before I pass it over to my players so that they can introduce themselves, things of that nature, 2 other things that I'd like to touch on. First of all, we are missing Im this evening. We miss you. Hopefully the stuff sorts itself soon and you'll be back with us before we can miss you too bad. But we will miss you at least tonight. Last message that I want to touch on is the message that is always so very, very important here at MiniTerrainDomain and everywhere else, is that you matter. And life can be a struggle at times. There's always going to be hurdles in life, and there are times when they seem insurmountable. If you find yourself in that kind of a situation and you don't feel like you have an escape, there's always somebody that you can talk to who will try to help you work through those things. And needing help is not a weakness. Admitting that you need help, in fact, shows a lot of courage and strength. So if you find yourself in need, if you type !help in the chat, whether we're broadcasting a game or not, it will bring up lines that you can call or text, both in the United States and in Canada. And there's also a hyperlink that includes a series of numbers that you can call regardless of where you live in the world. But if you find yourself in need of talking to someone, please reach out. Get the help that you need, because you do matter, and we want you here as long as you can be. So now that all of that has been sorted, I think we're just about ready to start. I want to pass it over to my players so that they can plug anything that they would like to tell you how much they love you, etc., etc., and then we can get this started. So we're going to start with Karen. It looked like she was busy, so I had to call on her first.
Of course you did. Hi, everyone. I'm Karen. Just as I'm swallowing and finishing off, we're good. Tonight, I am going to be playing Yukiniltak. She is a hot-headed elven barbarian, and I wonder where her story is going to go now. I don't actually have too much to plug at this moment, but I'll see you soon. There you go.
Perfect. Wonderful. All right. Next, we have Matt.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt. I run a channel called A Fistful of Dice, and I make RPG stuff over at a company called Absolute Tabletop. Two things I'm excited about tonight. One is this book that arrived today on my doorstep, the print proof of Mission Manual. It is beautiful. I'm very excited about it. So those will be, we just have a couple minor adjustments that we need to make to the cover, nothing serious. And then these will be shipping out to backers and pre-order customers. So I'm very excited about that. And then the other thing I wanted to plug is we are co-publishing Ironsworn Starforged, which is the sci-fi expansion, standalone expansion to the Ironsworn, powered by the Apocalypse RPG. It's on Kickstarter right now. It's doing absolute gangbusters, so I'm really excited about that. If you just like search for Ironsworn Starforged, it should show up pretty easily with the Kickstarter page. Definitely go check that out. So there's some cool stuff that you can get there. It's like a wire-bound reference guide. There's asset cards, all kinds of cool stuff. So definitely go check that out. Tonight, I'm playing Wodo. He is a frost giant raised by humans who has a magical bow and arrow. So we'll see where the winds take him this eve.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude. I went to back the Kickstarter. I got the email and was like maybe almost half an hour later. I was like, sweet, I'll go check this out, see what the tiers are. It's like 75 grand. I'm like, what? Like, how long ago? 27 minutes. Oh, damn.
yeah. We reached the funding goal in about 8 minutes. So
it was very impressive.
Yeah. Really, really cool. So, and we're really excited to be with this. Is our first time kind of like partnering with somebody to help them make the book. And it's really cool because we're doing a little bit of writing, a little bit of editing, and then we're also helping with the logistical side of things, the printing and shipping and all that. So
right. Well,
really,
you
really
guys
cool
have
to be able to do that
with it. So it makes good sense.
Yeah, totally.
That's awesome. Yeah, I took the opportunity to get the physical book and also to get the physical book for Ironsworn because it was like a cheap little add-on for backing it. Oh, I'm so excited. And likewise excited for the Mecha Hack mission manual book to come out. I just ran Mecha Hack on Monday to run Mad Max, and it was beautiful. It was so good. And I used a lot of the stuff from the mission manual. Excellent. Speaking of beautiful, good. Austin, you're next.
Well, thank you, my good man. I have nothing to plug as always. Buy all the things that all the people here are talking about. I don't know, man. I'm excited for all that stuff. Like I haven't gotten the Starforged one yet, but now I'm psyched and waiting for the One Ring. You didn't even mention that, and that's awesome. I'm so freaking psyched for that. And I can't wait for my mission manual. So I got nothing else to say other than I'm excited to get back into this. I'll be playing Treshar, the Dwarvish Bard. And let's see if we can bring a little light into this darkness with some joyful song.
Fantastic. And last but not least, speaking of joyful song, which I think is actually the translation for your name, Jackson.
That would actually be a good idea. I should write that down. Hello, everyone. My name is Jackson Johnson. I represent a group called Initiative Entertainment. We have a podcast called Maelstrom. We just released our 4th episode. It's a big swashbuckling piratey adventure in a post-apocalyptic setting. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can listen to podcasts, basically. And tonight, I'm really, really excited to be to be playing the non-problematic and non-emotionally draining character of the campaign, Hajarama, old Hodge to her friends, and everyone is her friend. She is an ancient Dreenak druid, Dreenak being a yak folk. She's big, she's stinky, and she loves you, and she wants to give you some beans.
I love how those descriptions are pretty much just great for a grandmother in general. Just, it's just what
Turns
you
out,
want.
Hodge is your grandmother, audience.
Surprise! Cool. I'm very, very excited to see these characters again, and eager to get to this. So without further ado, let's get to it, shall we? There is no deeper betrayal than that of old age. The two things that you come to know best in all the world, your body and your mind, begin to fail you in ways that are always unexpected. What once was second nature and taken entirely for granted becomes less and less reliable. And a sobering realization takes hold that these things, that you, are not permanent. However, this resignation births a different understanding, one that contemplates that part of you that extends beyond body and mind, that indelible part that will remain when these lesser aspects of yourself are burned to ash. That part that touches those around you and lingers unforgotten. There is a kind of peace to be found in this. Skalla and Rosus, the giantess, are dealt with. Their attack failed. And now, in the aftermath of this skirmish that broke out during the funeral of the High King, there is now a rumor that has begun to circulate through the gathered peoples here, the news passing very quickly from mouth to mouth. With Skalda's failed attempt, her brother, Vilheil, will inherit all of his father's lands, keeping the Jarldoms together. Sannafrett has made it clear to those of you who helped defend her that this consolidation of power will likely cause Vilheil to change his mind about letting her go. She wants to leave sooner rather than later. But is there anything that you are doing or taking care of, saying, before you depart from this elven village?
Treshar would take a moment, just a brief moment, just to tell her Hetzal that it was good to see him again and that he wishes him well. And that's about it.
Your old mentor seems pleased that you came by to say, a parting. But you can tell that he seems troubled, to some extent, as he's bidding you goodbye.
Is there something you'd like to say to me, Hetzal, before I go? I do not know if I will have the chance to return.
That is exactly what troubles me, Treshar. I have seen you make a few decisions that I have questioned in the past before, but this, I'm merely concerned, is all.
I appreciate your concern, my old friend, and I will wear it as caution and wariness. But this is a thing I must do. I can tell. The song of this woman, it ends there, and I think I am accompanying.
You were always driven by your own rhythms. That is no question of that. But please, yes, take caution with you.
And please do say a prayer for me.
I will say 3.
He just nods at that and smiles, kind of claps him on the shoulder, and turns to heft his pack onto his back.
Anyone else?
For whatever funeral rites are overseen for the fallen, Hodge will serve as the spiritual guide for this process. And Hodge has spent most of her time watching over the dead being passed on, whether burned or buried or however the bodies are dealt with. And she ensures that she carries out a special pouch of incense salts that she has, that she spreads over the fallen remains of the people who died. And this incense and salt, by tradition of the ancient Dreenak, helps the souls of the warriors return to the stars above. And by the end, she is merely sitting alone by herself on a little snowbank away from the village, looking up at the stars, watching them, making sure that the souls have passed on properly. And she is noticeably more hunched over than she normally is. She is filled with despondency and sadness. Death is a natural part of life to Hodge. She's lived this long to respect it, but nothing to her is worse than unnecessary death, especially unnecessary death involving such young warriors with such promise, such a future. And she mourns not only their lost lives, their lost potential, but the wounds that will never heal, the wounds that are left in the community by loved ones and by comrades who will live to tell the tale. Well, while most warriors pass on in battle, having their deeds sung of greatness, these warriors will have died essentially for the selfish whims of one person. A person whose lover that Hodge brought back. And Hodge wrestles with that, wondering if that was the right thing. And so Hodge thinks on this as she just sits alone on a snowbank, letting her hot breath cool into mist, and as she watches it dissolve and fly up to the sky.
And I think there's a familiar hand that comes to rest on your shoulder, just seemingly almost out of nowhere. Someone who has likely heard Hodge voice these exact concerns before, perhaps many times. And you realize that the hand belongs to Amaruk, your elven friend who has seen you out on many a journey, leaving here from Kionkura. He calls this town his home, after a moment of just leaving his hand there to let you know that he's there, he moves around and sits on the snowbank beside you, just content for a moment at least to stare up at the stars the same as you.
Slowly, the tension in her chest leaves, and Hodge smiles and wraps her big old arm around Amaruk's shoulders and just pulls him in close and just buries him in her fur.
You hear a small, like, as he reaches up and kind of brushes some of this long, shaggy hair kind of out of the immediate front of his face.
It's been a while, old sport. Had to give you back my scent.
Been a while since you have bathed, I think.
Nature provides me with everything I need.
Pungency, foremost.
I like to think of it as fermentation.
Are we a fine wine now?
Well, I am fine,
But you know that. And she kind of pinches his cheek playfully.
Better than most, old Haj, better than most.
Sorry I haven't spoken to you. I wish I could have met you again under better circumstances, old friend.
You're always up to something, Haj. You always have been.
Yes. But I feel like this might be the last thing. We're going to the Gray.
That's what I heard. You mean to escort Sannafrett?
Her time has come. And perhaps mine.
And she stares out at the endless expanse of ice.
My visions have been growing more chaotic. Like a great storm building. I fear something powerful will come to pass. And with that, perhaps my wandering journey may be at an end as well.
Are you frightened?
No. If anything, I'm overdue. But I am going to miss what I've gained. You can't take any of this with you when you head to the stars. Though I hope I can at least keep the memories.
And she brushes on Marak's face.
He kind of smiles up at you, and he says, I can only hope that it will not be too long before I am able to join you up there.
Should that be the case, old friend, our stars will not be the ones complacent in the sky.
And she gestures up at the stars and she goes,
You and me, darling, will be two shooting stars, forever dancing through the endless expanse.
Dancing is far beyond me at this point.
But when you're an incorporeal spirit, you can do whatever the hell you want. I have been looking forward to not feeling this.
and then she just cracks her back as she tries to stand up. Oh!
Goodness. I envy that. If I had tried that, I'd be laid out here on the snow.
No, you just gotta do it in the right motion here. Ugh. Do you need me to help you out? And she like offers to massage him.
No, please. I only came to say that should this be the last time that you leave Kinkura, you will be missed, dear Hodge.
She reaches into her mass of fur and searches around for something, and then pulls out a long, weathered, yellowed horn, slightly curved. And she says,
I lost this when I smashed my head against a large polar bear. Dug into it to defend myself. The damn thing broke off, and I carried it with me ever since.
she hands it to him.
Hollow it out. Make a horn. And when you feel alone, my friend, blow, and my spirit will come.
The level of sincerity that he cannot mask on his face, the almost awe that he has at the presentation of this gift, he stammers. He can't respond for a moment, and finally he says, Hodge, this is... Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And she pulls him in close for a big old hug.
Yeah.
And she says,
This will also be probably the last time I can give you this.
and she passes him a bag filled with beans.
Without a hesitation, he takes them and pushes them down into his belt. Take care.
Always do.
And he stands and will leave you to your thoughts.
As Hodge smiles as one of her closest friends walks away, and then, as much as she was happy, that quickly fades as she just stares back out at the horizon. And even though she's not really afraid of what comes next, the weight of realizing that her time is coming to an end is filling her with a great sense of sadness, of longing, of rethinking everything, trying to figure out if she had done everything right. She hasn't really gotten to the acceptance part yet, as much as a strong front she puts up for people. And so she just sighs and leans in on her staff, mostly because she can't really get up by herself, but she just hopes someone will come along and eventually pick her up.
I imagine Ceci's probably there quickly. All right. Wodo, you can attack. Either of you.
Wodo would be caught in a memory of back when he was still living in his village with his mothers Astrid and Sif, and remembering the first funeral that he can recall, a hunter from his village who had been killed out on a hunt. And they never found his body, or otherwise couldn't bring it back to the village. And so there was this funeral without a corpse, where people from the village left mementos for this fallen hunter. And Wodo remembers the arrows left there for this hunter. And he remembers not looking up because he was already taller than his mothers at this point, but looking to his mothers and saying, why would they waste arrows giving them to a dead man? And he remembers Astrid looking to him and saying, they're not arrows for a dead man. They're arrows for him to carry into the next life. And Wodo remembers the ice glistening on the fletching of those arrows, and he is back in the present, yanking arrows out of people in the aftermath of this battle, retrieving what arrows he can, and finding embedded in a few of these bodies the thorn-like protrusions that he sent flying through the battlefield. He finds a few arrows to retrieve, begins cleaning the sort of barbed heads of these arrows, these hunting arrows, and his glistening blue eyes would seek out his friend Yuka, and if he finds her, he would say, "Are we to go too, then?"
And you've caught Yuka just kind of, she's staring off into the distance. She's just recently had talked to her mentor. And ever since then, she's been a little different, a little bit distant, if you will, but also impatiently packing and getting everything ready. And then she'd stop and just kind of stare off. And so you've caught her at one of these points where she's just staring off into the distance, just thinking about something. I'm sorry, Wodo, what was that?
I just asked if we are to go too on this journey, this trek to the Gray.
Of course we are. We're needed. Well, I'm needed. And I need you. I'm going. I wish we'd go right now. I don't know what's taking everyone so long.
The Gray is not going anywhere. And it will be there whether we go or not.
I don't want to just go to the Gray, Wodo. There's another place I have to get to, and I need answers.
I know. You've waited a long time. You just have to wait a little longer.
Kept from me my entire life. I didn't know I needed this. I needed so badly, Wodo, the answers. I don't know if I can wait.
Wodo's eyes flick for a moment to his bag that he left over by that overturned sled turned into a bar, and he sees the Iron Giant's helm hanging from the pack, and his eyes come back to you, and he goes, "I know. I understand."
Again, her eyes track to the helmet. And then she looks up to Wodo. You're right, Wodo. I'm sorry. If anyone understands, you do.
He lays a gigantic hand on your shoulder. I also understand the impatience. No apologies are necessary.
She'll just nod and kind of head off to the next thing that needs to get done. Whether it be grabbing some provisions to attach to some I've lost the words. Animals that pull things. There we go.
Excellent. So the five of you plus Sannafrett are gathering up onto the. I imagine there's probably a sled, probably a large sled that is pulled by a team of something akin to reindeer, maybe even perhaps some kind of amalgamation in our eyes of a reindeer and a polar bear, kind of mix between these two animals.
Like a bunch of Donzen, you'd say?
Maybe, yeah, that is an animal, isn't it?
They're described as riding reindeer. So I was like,
Perfect. Donzen, yep. Who created this world? So you mount up and begin to head out towards the Gray, leaving the elven town of Kionkura behind you. The travel's fairly uneventful for the first day or so. You eventually find a place where you can make camp that has some shelter. It's an outcropping of rocks that is protected from the wind, and able to huddle down there and make camp for the evening. But Yuka, you realize that there's something missing from your belongings. I'm not exactly sure why or when it is that you went looking for it, but at the point that you do go looking for it, you find that your strange stone block is not amongst your stuff. If you go looking for it, however, you will find Sannafrett with it, sitting by the meager fire that you have managed to establish here in the middle of your campground. She has this stone block, and she's playing with it, like balancing it on her finger and just kind of testing its strange properties, seemingly just totally amazed and enamored by it.
Well, as soon as Yuka sees that Sannafrett has this block, she would stalk towards this old woman and literally just rip it out of her hands. What are you doing with this? This is mine. You have no right to go through my things.
How rude.
How rude for you. You took it. It isn't even yours.
It was
like
just
someone
lying
needs to
there.
someone needs to take a chill pill.
Hodge says as she's just stumbling up to the group.
What's going on here? Someone needs beans? Is this what I'm hearing?
They better not have.
This old woman is stealing my stuff. You should watch your things. She'll go through and take yours too.
I was not stealing anything. Unlike some who may have come before. And she kind of eyes you, Yuka. I'm not the first who have picked up this object. It seems it conjures a little bit of resistance, of anger inside of you.
That is because people keep trying to take it from me.
I understand, but I'm not taking your things. I'm inspecting it. I'm a curious type of creature.
It doesn't give you the right to go through my things to look for something.
You are correct, of course. Might I carry it to continue studying it? It's most peculiar. I found myself drawn to it, but not in a possessive way. A way to... I want to understand it. There's something about it that I cannot quite unlock.
Yuka's just staring at this woman. I'm not giving it to you.
Of
You can
course
look
not.
at it while I am here watching you.
Very well. You know, she might have been right. This stone block might be changing you, Yuka.
Yuka looks like she's been slapped.
Okay. Tracia, how about you play a nice jig? Get the spirits up. My goodness.
Yes, but perhaps a traveling song.
Yeah,
As
that'll
we-
do it.
As we travel, I think it would be wise for us to leave this place soon.
Yes, let's leave
He'll
this
start-
place.
He'll start tuning his instrument.
Yeah, let's leave this place and our aggressive feelings towards each other here, too. You see, young lady, when you're out in the God's Breath Flats, you have to rely on everyone like they were your family. That is that can be the difference between life and death out here.
And Treshar will kind of lean into Yuka and say fairly quietly, "We're taking this old woman to die. I do not expect she has much need of stealing your possessions."
I can't hear you. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, no, I can.
She shouldn't have gone through my things in the first place.
I do not argue with this, but let's try to let little things go. We've got a long journey.
It's not
Trey Shaw, play that that giant song that you know.
Okay, but it's not my fault if I sing so loudly that I scare all the food away for the next 2 days. You kind of have to sing giant songs loud.
That is part of their appeal, yes.
They got a lot of vocal range for one so big.
I never claimed to be a talented singer.
Nonsense, dearie. You can be whatever you want to be as long as you put your mind to it.
There's like a slight blush that comes to Wodo's cheeks, and he kind of has that like, oh geez, like he kind of like kicks a little pile of snow and continues walking.
Hodge just kind of chuckles to herself. This old yak still got it.
At the end of the first day, if you will, the first time of travel, when you have settled in for the evening, again, maybe not all of you, but one of you at least would recognize that Sannafrett has grown younger. Probably by a decade or so over the course of this day.
Sanny, honey, you're looking good.
Oh, yes, I... Perhaps travel is what I've needed. I feel good.
Yeah. I've been traveling my whole life. Never done that before.
What before?
Something is amiss. This is unnatural.
Okay, you see it too? I thought it was just me. I thought it was my
no,
own... Okay.
she is decidedly younger.
Yeah. Your skin looks great. Like,
Well,
I mean, I didn't want to be rude, but there were these wrinkles here before, and they were so deep.
The
I mean,
crow's feet, yes.
These
Yeah.
crevices.
okay, we don't
and
have to
they've-
dwell on it.
They've faded much. Still present, of course. Quite visible and noticeable. But
well, I suppose maybe I have.
Did you get that from the rock? Can I hold on to that thing for a little bit?
Oh, daggers shoot to you from Yuka.
No way. It's something else. It's not the stone, though. The stone, I think the stone might be part of it. It's something else. I can't quite explain it.
There's some strange magic at play here.
No doubt.
This does not sit well with me.
Strange magic indeed.
Are you done with that yet? And she's like holding out her hand for the rock back.
Young lady, you need to cool out. Like your energy is
You need to
intense.
mind your own business, old woman.
Whoa, okay. We need to maybe just take the energy here and bring it down to here, because that's not going to help us out on the God's Breath Flats.
Trishar starts plucking out a tune on his instrument, and these like light ripples of energy start to emanate out as he's like kind of starting to prepare. Like he's playing the first few notes of his Calm Emotions song, trying to just kind of gauge the room, preparing.
You know, possessions are merely a social construct. You see, back in my day, in my home, we just shared everything with each other, and it was great.
We have been tasked with taking this old woman to the Gray for her to move on to the next life. And yet here she is, more youthful than she was a moment before. I do not intend to carry on this quest if there is some sort of trickery or foul magic at play.
I don't think it's that, young Wodo. There is great change. There is great mystery hidden within the Gray. Anything is possible beyond its mists. Sannafrett, I think we might be seeing the beginning of something very powerful.
This is exactly why I have asked you and your friends to accompany me on this journey, because I knew that it was going to be something that I could not define, something I could not fully understand myself, but I am driven. I know that this is the right path, that this is the right course of action that I must take. Whatever it's doing to me, I cannot say that I would complain. She kind of like hesitates with the stone in her hand for just a moment. I will speak to you later, she says directly to the stone. And then she hands it back to you, Yuka.
Wait. What? No, hold on. Time out. But I'm sorry. Who would you were speaking to the stone? Was it speaking back to you?
Metaphorically. The elements around us.
He shoots a glance at Haj like, okay, she's crazy.
Hodge is kind of like, you know, it's always good to make new friends, Sannafrett, even if they're stones.
It is not normal to talk to rocks.
I thought giants loved that.
They do?
I don't. You tell me.
Ceci
You're
shakes
the
her
giant.
head. Maybe it is normal to talk to rocks. He starts like stroking his mustache.
I think it's perfectly normal as long as it makes you happy. And that's what really matters, Sannafrett. And she puts her arm around Sannafrett.
Don't have to
So-
coddle me, Harj.
Does your rock friend have a name?
He does, I'm certain, but it's not the kind of conversation that you and I are having. It's on a different kind of level, a different kind of connection.
I suppose that would be necessary when talking to a rock. Well,
Hodge's like some sort of recognition is gleamed in her eyes as she understands on an intuitive sense what Sannafrett means.
Well, here's your stone back. Forgive me. Though I might ask to borrow it again in the future. With your permission, of course.
Thank you. Yuko would say brusquely, and then take the stone quite firmly grasped in her hand and walk away.
She has anger issues.
I remember when I was her age. Possessed
You do?
by...
Oh, shut up. She hits Sannafrett.
She is not angry without reason. She has many questions and is impatient to find the answers.
Well, I hope that whatever answers she may find are worth all the anger. I'd hate to live my life constantly searching for something.
Then Hodge just kind of pauses for a moment.
You know, Sannafrett, I think it's time I go talk to my friends.
And then she'll wander off.
What does that mean? What friends? What is she talking about?
With old Harj, there's no telling. Sometimes she's serious, and sometimes she's making a joke. Sometimes she understands what she's saying, and sometimes she doesn't.
I think the truth is old women have small bladders.
This entire ordeal sits ill with me. I would go quickly and be done with it.
Well, I would say that we could hurry, that we aren't getting any younger, but... She kind of like puts her hands out.
In the distance, you just hear, boo!
Wait, don't you mean moo?
I'm what can I do to penalize the dungeon master? How do I do that? Can I take away?
Like I'm not being
Domain
penalized
dice?
enough already.
Yeah.
Can we get some negative domain dice, chat?
So, you continue on with this travel. The next day, again uneventful, the wind continuously blowing across the God's Breath Flats, the source of its name, its namesake, constantly pushing against you and your caravan, your convoy, as you move further and further, closer and closer to the Gray. You notice, as you continue on, Sannafrett continues to get younger. Seems if you're paying really close attention, every couple of hours there's a noticeable change. At the end of every day, again, there seems to be at least a decade that seems to come off of her body and her face and her mannerisms. Where she started the journey as an octogenarian, she's easily now in her 60s. Some of the color in her hair has started to return. She walks a little more upright. The joints in her hands are less pronounced. She seems more cognizant of things going on around her. And almost like if you've ever gone in and gotten your prescription refilled whenever you've needed to for a long time and haven't, there's this almost a sensation of having seen and heard the world for the first time now. She's looking around with this kind of sense of wonder and taking it all in. She comes to you, Yuka, at the end of every day of travel, apparently, once camp has been established. May I see the stone, please?
Yuka this time is much more calm, I guess, with Sannafrett, and she would pull out the stone, and as she's passing it to Sannafrett, can you really talk to this stone? And it talks back.
She seems to almost hesitate with phrasing it this way. Again, it's not really like a speaking. It's in my mind. I can hear this voice responding to me.
I know a thing about voices in your head. Does this... The stone doesn't do that for me. Why you?
My dear, that is a question that I've been asking myself my entire life. Why me?
And
These
you've never
things-
found an answer?
Not as of yet, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it's out there. Feel like there are answers out there, in the gray, in the mist. That is why I go. My entire life I have been different. My hair and my skin darker than everyone else around me, without any explanation. I understand things. I feel things that no one else seems to. Lived my entire life feeling out of place. I think I will find where I belong, out there. And I think that this stone, whoever it is that this stone seems to connect me with, I think that they are involved as well.
So you think the stone is just a conduit? That you're not actually hearing the stone?
Perhaps. Yes, but it's not a voice I've ever heard before, so this stone is some sort of conduit, or a doorway of some kind. Not a physical doorway, you understand, just... It's hard to explain. But I feel drawn to it, much the same as I do feel drawn to the gray.
Do you think you can trust it?
Yes, I believe I can.
How do you know?
The same way that I knew that I must travel this way. There's something inside me that... an instinct. I know.
Yuka will fall silent, but she has the stone out towards Sannafrett.
Do you wish to sit here while I attempt to speak with this person?
Yuka would just pat Sannafrett's shoulder. Not unless you want me to be here.
Here. She kind of like scoots over on like the fur that she's sitting on to kind of make space for you to sit next to her.
And Yuka would sit down.
She takes the stone from you and kind of holds it in front of her face at about arm's length, maybe a little less. And she begins conversing. And it's almost like you're hearing one side of a conversation. She's discussing something with this individual, apparently, whose name I just... Yuma? I think it's Yuma. She says, his name is Yuma. Already been through quite an ordeal himself, by the sounds of it. He's also met with some contention from his traveling companions, it sounds like. Oh, that's interesting. He's but a child. I find myself remembering things that I've never thought about I haven't thought about in years. Things from my own childhood. Things I have forgotten. I have an idea. Here, hold this. And she hands you the stone again.
You guys are kind of baffled with this whole conversation. Reflexively just holds up the hand and has her drop it into it.
She holds her hands kind of out above this stone and begins kind of moving them in like this circular motion. And as she does so, you can watch as particles of snow fall in between her hands, but don't fall back out the other side. And some of the falling snow from around her hands is almost like bent, almost like with like magnetism. It's drawn in between her hands whenever it wouldn't normally have passed between them. And it starts to consolidate into a snowball. And she closes her eyes, and the snowball shrinks down on itself just above the stone until it disappears.
What did you do?
If I'm not mistaken, I think I just sent him his first snow.
So he's not dead. You're not hearing
I don't
dead voice.
think so. No. He sounds very much alive, at least, but...
Wait, what? First snow, you said? I think it just took a little
yes.
moment to hear.
First snow. He says he's never seen, he didn't even know the word.
How is that even possible?
She kind of like looks at the stone and shrugs.
Are you sure this is... Because it's kind of baffled. It's not evil. How could they not know snow?
I have dreamed of a place off and on through my life. It is very different from everything I've ever known. It is a land of fire and heat and brightness. And the snow there it's not snow at all, it's like granules of dirt or dust, but more than you could ever imagine.
That sounds terrible.
It holds its own beauty in a way. It is harsh, much like Hettust itself, but in a different way. Things seem less permanent there. Here, everything turns to ice or stone eventually. There, things are consumed in fire regularly. It's a fascinating place. I think he might come from this place. This place that I've dreamed of in my whole life. It now seems like it might be real.
But where? Where would that place be?
That I do not know.
You could just, without a sound, just kind of turns back to Sannafrett and places the stone back in her hands and closes the old, but now younger woman's hands over top of it. Doesn't say anything and then just kind of walks away. I think she'd go up to Wodo, actually. Just kind of puzzled. She's got that look like something weird has just happened. She goes up to Wodo. The strangest thing just happened.
Stranger than that old woman aging backwards?
Yes. Maybe. I don't know.
Do tell.
She's now talking of this world that has no snow. And this, I don't understand what's going on, but she sent snow through the stone. I don't know.
You
what to think.
saw this happen?
I did.
A place without snow.
Did not see the place, but apparently, I sound crazy with just talking about it, but the voice is from some place that has no snow.
No such place exists.
That's what I said.
Trishar picks up a rock off the ground and he just kind of starts waving his hand around and kind of humming a little under his breath and casting minor illusion to make a snowball. And he starts like making the illusion of this snowball melt, like disappearing into the rock. And he just tosses the rock behind him.
There.
This-
Look, see? Trey
Behind
Shar
you,
can do it with his parlor tricks.
as the rock flies back, you hear, "Oh!"
Wodo, you should probably not throw rocks.
I'm meditating here.
She's speaking of a place with no snow. I don't know.
Well,
I
I've
can't
never
imagine
seen
such a place existing.
That's just it. I can't even imagine a place. How does she know about this?
Distance, you all hear, the universe beyond is greater than any one imagination.
Oh my God. What? There's clearly magic at play here. Her growing younger cannot be faked. He would kind of look at Trey Shar for confirmation, right?
He thinks on it for a second and he pulls out his little cap and he puts it on his head and he starts to use the innate magic of his disguised self cap to try to look like a younger version of himself. And it works, except you know that it's an illusion and you're able to like see through it knowing that it's an illusion as he casts it in front of you, and it's clearly not the same. It just has a sheen of illusion to it. And he takes it off and just shakes his head. Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like it's possible.
Hodge walks back and sees young Trey Shar, and she goes,
Oh, what the hell? Is this happening to everyone now?
He hesitates for a moment to take the cap off. And he goes, "Yes, did you not? No, you clearly haven't."
Oh, what in the fuck is that supposed to mean, young man?
And he just takes the cap off and just starts laughing.
Oh, you pulled one on old Hatch. Very funny.
and then she leans in and puts a hand on your shoulder.
I will not forget this.
And still laughing, he just says, "I'm going to pay for that."
Someday. Not today, but someday.
What if there's something like this inside the gray or beyond it?
There's nothing beyond the gray.
But we don't know that for sure.
The gray is the end. No one's coming
The end
back
of
from-
one thing, but it has to end. The gray itself has to end, right?
Does it?
Is it end? My young dear, the universe never ends. It constantly changes.
No
When the
one.
bodies of the fallen warriors passed, they turned to ash and rose to the sky. The gray is a representation of that, manifestation of the great changing. The universe never ends. It is always changing. Sannafrett is becoming a reflection of all.
I do not doubt your wisdom, but I will say, every time I've been close to the gray, it has felt like nothing but death and ending.
Mm.
Death is change. It is one of many. That does not mean you have to fear it. Just understand and respect it.
Wodo thinks again of those arrows left for that hunter. He nods. The concept is beyond me. The truth of this is beyond me. But she is aging backwards. Perhaps she is talking to someone with the stone. Someone in a place far from here.
Well, stranger things have happened.
What is stranger than what is happening right now?
Fuck if I know, but I'm sure it's happened.
Maybe when you ate one too many of your beans.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it, sweet cheeks. If there's one thing I can count on, if there's one thing I know for sure, my friends, is that I know absolutely nothing. And neither do you.
On this, we agree.
Exactly.
Just goes right over her head as she smiles.
Oh! Oh my! Oh my! Sannafrett calls. And she clambers to her feet with surprising speed and agility and makes her way over to where all of you have been discussing this. And cradled in her hand is a ball of fire. That is where we're going to take our break. So, thank you all so much so far for tuning in. Thank you all for the gifted subs and all of that is coming in. I'm trying to keep up with it for the domain dice, which should be listed up above and hopefully accurately represent everything that has been given. So thank you very, very much. You guys, thank you, the four of you, so very much. I cannot wait to get to the second half of what I have planned for this evening. So go to the bathroom, refill your drinks, smoke them if you got them, kiss your spouse, etc., etc. Sit tight, everyone. We will be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of our session this evening. This is session 4, The Tranquility of Dotage. Anything but tranquil thus far. It's been a lot of fun. This is Convergence. This takes place in a homebrew world of Arrath. This is Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I don't know if I've answered all of the unasked questions, but, well, there we go. So, I'm ready to get back to the second half. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in this evening. I guess I should have explained Domain Dice before we started, but, whatever. So Domain Dice is whenever you pledge or give a sub or give a gift subscription or renew a sub or play hopscotch. No, I don't know exactly what all qualifies, but it earns them Domain Dice, which you can see up above. We currently have 40 of these things, so you guys need to be spending them, because the players can spend them. 1, to get advantage on a roll of theirs. They can choose to cash it in after they roll, or they can choose to spend 2 to have me re-roll with disadvantage. I think that about covers it. Not all of the ways that Domain Dice are typically used here on the channel, but that's how we're using them. Excellent. So, does anybody have any questions or concerns other than with Hodge's attitude before we move forward? That's a no. I hear nothing, so we're just gonna plow right on through. Horns first. I might be a few beans short of a bag. So, from just outside the camp, Sannafrett has returned, eager and excited. As she approaches, you can see she has a fireball cradled in her hands. Look! Look!
Holy shit.
How is it not burning you?
It's not touching me. It's not. I can feel the heat off of it, but it's not hot.
Did this come from the stone?
Yes.
Your little friend in the rock gave you that?
Yuma. His name is Yuma, and he sent me this.
Okay,
don't you see?
Wodo?
She turns to Yuka. It was an exchange. It was an exchange.
For the snow.
Exactly, yes.
Yuka would turn immediately to Trey Shar and kind of like raise eyebrows. Can you do that?
Apparently, yes. Look. She's going to kneel down next to the kind of small little fire that you guys have managed to scrape together for camp. And she almost like dumps or pours this ball of flame kind of into the heart of your small campfire. And the flames like double in size almost instantly, as if the fire itself were hungry for whatever she's just fed it.
Wodo would actually kind of shield his gaze from the flame, as he's not used to seeing light this vibrant, I imagine.
Treasure. Treasure.
He's staring at the flame, kind of dumbfounded by this, and he'll break his gaze with it to look up at you. It's happened. Who am I to say whether it is possible? I see it.
But can you do that? You did the other thing.
He kind of snort laughs. No. As far as I am aware, no such matter. What? I became Scottish.
You're so gobsmacked.
It's so crazy.
What's
She
going
brought
on?
a ball of fire from a rock.
She broke me. What
Donkey.
was it? It was Russian. All right. Anyway, it's something vaguely Eastern European. Anyway, no, I have known no such knowledge. Never seen such magic in my life.
So it's real. What I saw was real. This is real, not just an illusion.
Do you mean this? What we all just saw?
Yes.
Yes. This, I mean, he'll go forward and he'll pick up just like another random stick and stick it in the fire and just watch it, or a little like piece of whatever they have as their kindling, drop it in and just watch it burn. This fire it's hot. He'll just kind of still like reach his hand towards it a little bit just to feel like, just long enough to feel like that it's like this will burn him if he sticks it further. Like, I have no explanation.
Hodge will say, well, fuck it. I'm not going to let this go to waste. And she's going to pull out a massive blunt from her fur and just like put it in her mouth and just lean down and just light it. Smoke them if you got them. Anybody? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's impolite to say no. And Tracer
yeah.
will walk over to her and join.
This is good, Tez, too.
I don't usually partake, but yeah.
Feels right. Yeah.
What does this mean? This exchange. Can we go there?
I'm not sure if that's possible, but it would appear that there's some form of, as you could put it, a conduit, a doorway, or a tunnel that seems to connect at least myself with Yuma.
Does this Yuma know of our land? Does he know of snow?
I have sent him some, and I tried to describe it as best I could for him. I'm not
But
sure
his
if he
land is
understands.
devoid of it.
It is, yes. It is in constant light. 3 fireballs soar across the sky above, taking the place of the lantern bearer here on our side. They cover the land with light and heat, much as, well, and she kind of indicates the fire now burning between you all.
So, tell me, Sannafrett, this connection you have with Yuma, would you say it has been growing stronger? In a similar pace to your de-aging?
It seems somewhat slower because I haven't spent this entire time with this strange stone, but the more time that I spend with this stone, the stronger I feel this connection growing. I think it might also have to do with how close we grow to the mists.
Exactly. We are experiencing a great monumental change. Now, as we get closer to the gray, the very embodiment of the shifting tides of this world, you are able to exchange gifts with a stranger from another world. Perhaps by the time we reach the mists, like Wodo said, you will be able to go to his world, and he ours. Perhaps, dear Sannafrett, it is your destiny to meet this young lad.
Perhaps. Maybe this entire time, dear old friend, Maybe that's what all of this is. She gestures to the skyfire, the ribbons of aurora glistening above you, and the pinpricks of burning bright light in the sky. Maybe what awaits me after this life is finished is a chance to go to his world, to one of these places in the sky.
This world sounds uncomfortable. With constant heat and light, the people are lazy, complacent, I imagine.
And no snow.
No snow.
I imagine not many Dreenak live there. All this fur, they'd burn up.
I wonder if there are giants there.
Would you like to find out?
I'm certainly eager to learn more.
Their songs must be very depressing.
I don't know. With all the heat, maybe they could be like really fun. It's like grooving. Like since it's all hot and everything, it's kind of spicy, you know, like a nice samba. You know, everyone's.
No, music always works in opposites. Joyous place, sad music. Darkness, dreariness, happy music.
Are you saying that our land is dark and dreary? I find a lot of joy in our great land. I've lived here all my bloody life, damn it.
He just kind of shrugs. I see what I see. But we bring our own light.
I'm excited to see what light lies beyond.
This does not change our course. We still must deliver you to the Gray, yes?
I agree, yes. As a matter of fact, we should get underway whenever you're ready. I feel
Indeed.
reinvigorated.
Okay, I'm feeling slightly lethargic thanks to Hajj, but I think I can get going.
No. You just gotta let it fall. Don't resist it. You gotta let it fall over you. Then you'll be relaxed. You'll be more open. You know, I've had some great ideas for music when I smoke this stuff. I think you and I could really chat about that.
I didn't know that you were so inclined. I would definitely be interested. You have much experience and many tales to tell.
Back in the day, let me tell you something, young man. I could beat the drum like nobody's business.
All right. Sounds like you're ready to press further onward. You strike camp, carrying the fire, the ember that remains along with you, protected and covered against the constant wind of the God's Breath Flats that threatens to smother and put it out. Though, as you do so, out of habit, the same thing that all of your peoples have been doing since recorded history began, you, for the first time, wonder if it's necessary. If, in fact, you have this oracle, this woman with you who can seemingly, maybe, perhaps, summon fire out of nothing, maybe you don't have to tend this ember the way that you used to. You press on. Again, as the day wanes, so does the age of Sannafrett. She now seems as if she's barely out of her 40s and has a quickness in her step that wasn't there just a moment before. only the hintest gray to her hair now. And she seems more vibrant and more alive. Could be just the eagerness to find what lies ahead. It could be this new discovery, this new power. But that also does not seem to be slowing. At some point, you see that she's gotten herself a small ball of ice that's, I don't know, probably about this big or so. Almost perfectly spherical. And she's been holding it in her outstretched palm as you've traveled, and has been concentrating on this almost as hard as she was concentrating on the weightless stone that had belonged to Yuka. And eventually you see this ball begin to rotate in the palm of her hand. Kind of jerkingly at first, uneven. As she concentrates on this, as she works on this through the day, before the day is over with, she's able to keep this rotating at a fairly decent speed and constant. And at one point, it spins fast and fast and fast until it actually rises up out of the palm of her hand by a couple of inches. She snatches it. Ah! I knew I could do it. I knew I could do it. See? She says, kind of looking around to see if anybody had witnessed.
Can you teach me how to do that? Or can I send Yuma some stuff?
Maybe, perhaps. She kind of tosses this ice ball to you, Haj. Maybe not.
Well, maybe he'd like one of these. And I give her a bean.
For the boy.
No, that's a normal bean. I don't know. He's a boy. You say he's a boy? He's a boy. That'd be ridiculous. No, let me. Yes, that's a good bean.
Very well.
Tell him old Hodge said it, and she loves him.
You don't even know him.
I love everybody. He has no reason to not earn my love. Just like you. I love you.
Oh, great.
I think you would make a good bard.
I've wandered enough for it. But have I got stories for you? Let me tell you about the time.
You continue to press onward with this journey. Before long, you can feel the presence of the Gray. Not far. You're not close enough yet to be able to see its faint glow, the reflection it gives from the skyfire above. But you can feel its ominous presence growing closer on the horizon. But first, you find yourself in a location that, if any of you have ever been here, it's been some time. You can see that this once must have been a body of liquid water. You can see the waves frozen mid-crest, permanently cascading over the battered remains of ship hulls, which have been almost entirely worn away above the surface due to the constant wind and the exposure to the elements here. As you're crossing this section of frozen lake, you notice that one of these ships is absolutely enormous. Just this huge ship. There's a frozen line that extends from the deck of the ship down to a harpoon, still embedded into the skull of a large Beold bull, one of these walrus whale type creatures, these creatures that are hunted here in Hettust for their blubber, their meat, their ivory. One of its long ivory tusks has penetrated the ship of what must have been a giant's ship. And now you can see that there's nothing more than the skeleton of the animal that remains. And you can see where its body was, where the water around this must have frozen while it was still whole. All of that soft tissue has been eroded, rotten, or eaten. And now there's a cavity between its ribcage that seems to lead down through the ice. Wodo, on the masthead of this enormous giant ship, you see something that gives you pause. An emblem carved into the masthead itself of a crescent moon over a towering peak.
As we look upon this this sort of like frozen vista with these ships frozen in the waves, Wodo just stands and looks for a long time, and he hones in on this giant-sized ship with the harpoon and this emblem. I need to go down there. And he kind of looks to Yuka and says, I won't make anyone come with me, but I have to go down there.
I understand, and I will be going with you.
Wait. No, you need to go under the, and he looks over just questioningly. You're serious?
That ship down there, that's a giant ship. That's a vessel of my people. And that emblem, I feel like I know it. Yes. Maybe only in a dream, but maybe a memory.
Dreams often tell us what the mind wishes to speak but cannot. If that is where your dreams take you, young man, then it is where you must go.
Maybe today you get some answers.
Maybe. But I do not wish to undermine our quest.
It's on the way. I'm in.
I think it would be unwise for us to split up and risk any of us. We should all stay together. So, of course, I will come. I'll have another tale to sing songs of. The dwarf who dove into the bowels of a giant ship frozen in time.
Followed by the beautiful Dreenak druid.
Is someone else joining us? Sannafrett says to Old Haj.
Oh my god.
Oh, you're this close, hon. You're already de-aging, and that's making me feel things. You're this close, darling.
Have a bean, sweetheart.
You have a... Oh. Why don't you light the way through the frickin'...
Yakety yak, don't talk back.
I'm going to get you for that. You're going on the list.
All right. So looking down through the ribcage of this Beold bull, this creature was large enough that even Wodo is not going to have any problems being able to slide through this hole in the ice. You realize very quickly as you're kind of inspecting this cavity, this hole, you realize that the ice is several feet thick. But below the ice, there's emptiness. There's a cavernous space beneath where this frozen water used to be. So you're likely going to have to secure a rope to be able to lower yourselves down. And again, there's enough of the ivory tusk of this Beold wedged into the side of the hull of this giant ship that you could easily secure a rope there if you needed to.
As we approach the ship, Wodo would just take a moment to look over that emblem on the ship, and something would kind of occur to him, and he would very quickly sort of roll up the sleeve of his left arm, and there's this like stone, like bangle bracelet on his wrist. It's like a fairly like simple piece of jewelry, seemingly carved of like this smooth stone, but etched into it is this sigil. And Wodo would look at the sigil and then again to the prow of the ship and say, it's the same. It's the same mark. What is it? What does that mean?
Where did you get the bangle?
I've always had it. My mother said that I was wearing it as a baby. It's grown with me.
So maybe these were your ancestors.
Where did your mother find you?
Out in the wastes. She was out hunting, heard me crying. I was alone.
Perhaps you were once not. And she gestures towards the ship.
Wodo kind of has this expression that's like, I was not prepared to deal with this today. But he sort of like marches forward and begins looping a rope around the tusk of the Beold.
Yuka would go up to where Wodo's tying that rope. And in case we need more, she's got another length of rope to secure to the other one if it's a lot further down than we are anticipating.
Fishar would secure a second rope to the tusk because we have a giant coming with us, and it seems like a good idea to have two ropes just in case anything happens.
That's fair. Okay. So, lowering this rope down, you kind of, slide part way down through what effectively would have at one time been the digestive system of this Beold, down towards where you can see that the ice abruptly ends and there's just this cavernous expanse of darkness beneath it. And the the braided leather rope that you've kind of extended out to that point, you take the coil in your other hand and drop it into the darkness. And there's a few seconds of silence as you finally hear that sound of like the leather hitting the bottom. It sounds like it's a good 30 or 40 feet down. So, who is going first? It might be Wodo, but we'll have to.
I think Wodo would probably go first. He wouldn't want to put anyone else in potential danger for
Certainly.
this.
Okay, so in whatever order that you are going to go, please, everyone that descends down the rope, roll me an athletics check, and you can have advantage because you're using the rope.
It's a 21 for me.
Excellent.
So
Okay.
23 for me.
Yuka's second. Okay.
19 for Treshar.
Okay. You're muted, Jackson.
That's going to be a 7 for Hodge.
Ooh. You want to?
Domain dice.
Yeah, I should
I mean-
probably use the domain dice. Yeah.
All right, you can reroll that.
That's an 8 for Hodge.
Ooh. Ooh. Big spender. Okay. Let's see what old Sannafrett gets. Oh. So the last two to go, Hodge and Sannafrett. They get probably halfway down this rope or so and begin to slip. Hodge, I'm going to need you to make another athletics check. This one is not at advantage because Sannafrett is coming down right after you.
That's an 11.
Okay. So you managed to keep a hold of this leather rope, but you slide about 15 feet down this leather rope, and your hands heat up considerably. And you're going to take 2 points of effectively fire damage.
Oh, ha. Hot, 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 hot. She's going to just
Sannafrett,
put her hand.
Yeah, almost falls on you.
Oh, actually, I think.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I think you actually hit a kink there I had for a couple years. Oh.
Ooh, that was a little more difficult than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Young as you are, still hard to travel, ain't it?
Yes, it is, yes. What is this place?
Hodge is just going to be like putting her hands against like any ice she has, just going, oh boy. Okay.
Beneath the ice, you realize that whatever body of water that must have once been here likely drained at some point. Somewhere else, who knows where it must have gone, but it left behind this crust, this ceiling on the top. It is dimly lit down here. You can see colors of light kind of streaming through the ice, powered by the auroras above you. But it's just barely enough light to kind of highlight the edges of some of the rock formations and the glistening ice that's everywhere down here in this enormous opening. You can see the dark shapes of the ships embedded into this cavernous ceiling as if they were flying overhead. Everyone, if you would please, give me perception rolls.
That is going to be a natural 20, 27.
Okay, 27, 11, 13, 6. Okay. Treshar and Haj, the two of you notice movement. Not that far off, but just kind of right at the edge of where your eyes start to kind of fail you in this dim light. You realize that there's a figure that is making their way towards you. It's still too far to really make out a lot of detail, but you're fairly certain that it's humanoid. Maybe female, but it's either human or elf, and it's hard to tell from here.
Try not to react with much startled amazement, but we are not alone down here. Someone is coming.
Wodo brings out his bow and knocks an arrow and looks for a place to take cover.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of these kind of rock columns or mounds that kind of form some of these walls, and you're guessing beneath your feet, beneath the ice that exists here, that there's probably bedrock as well. So there's these kind of curved mounds, if you will, of rock that extend all the way up to the surface, so you could easily find one of these to hide behind.
Yeah, and it's almost like they've done this before, because as soon as Wodo goes to one side, Yuka would go to another on the other side, also with bow drawn, arrow knocked.
Treshar, Haj, are you just... Haj is like no quick movements in both.
Trishar, I was going to say, Sannafrett, you should follow their lead. Hide. Stay
Oh,
stay to the
of
side.
course. Yes.
Too important to risk. And he kind of looks at Haj.
Don't start that.
She seems, whoever they see seems to be approaching openly. I say I meet them openly.
Hodge will nod, and she says, "Spirits bless you." And she'll actually tap you on your back and cast Enhance Ability on you. As a little bit of stardust, Leighton just flows off of her hand onto your back, and I'm going to give you Eagle's Splendor, where you will have advantage on charisma checks.
Amazing. I don't know if you know this. I'm quite good at those.
Oh, yeah. And Hodge says, "I'll back you up."
And Treshar is going to kind of find himself a little rock or icy kind of outcropping that he can sit up on and just pull out his instrument and start just very softly strumming it, and kind of singing just a very quiet, kind of tuneless melody.
This individual kind of changes course, seeming to now be drawn kind of in the direction of Treshar and seemingly trying to approach him. Haj watches from kind of a short distance, Sannafrett hiding behind one of the same pillars that either Yuka or Wodo are hiding behind. You can see this figure approaching as it becomes... Did it again.
You were just showing how dark it was.
That's what they said.
Immersion for the audience.
Ooh, magic. So this individual continues to approach, and Yuka, what is something that would be distinctive on the silhouette of Amka.
She carries an extremely large spear. It would be probably like a giant's javelin, maybe. Like it would have been small, but for us is massive. And that's what she has. She carries it behind her on her back.
You notice this spear sticking up from behind this figure. You realize that you think that seems like that's Amka that's approaching.
Without hesitation. I've lost my name. Yuka would lower her bow and immediately step out from where she was hiding and quickly approach the figure. Amka!
Yuka, what are you doing?
Treshar,
This was not the.
you're there strumming your song, playing, and Yuka comes out of hiding and immediately walks right past you towards this individual. And about that time, you realize that there's something very wrong about this figure's gait. The way they're... it's not walking. It's like a shuffling, like a shamble. And you realize she's dragging a broken foot behind her with every step. Doesn't seem to faze her in any way.
Yuka, stop. Yuka, something is wrong. Look. Use your eyes.
Hold up, child.
Roll initiative.
Hey. That was a nat 20. 23 for me.
23 for Wodo.
That's a 20 for Hodge.
Damn, high rollers. All right. Hodge. 14 for Treshar.
13
What
for
you got?
Yuka.
13 for Yuka. Oops. Helps if you spell, right? Maybe. It's overrated. Okay. Oh, wow. And... okay. All right. As you are approaching the figure of your friend Anka, Treshar shouts out this warning. But before anything happens, Wodo, your instincts kick in. You're able to take an action first.
Awesome. Okay. I was hoping for that. Wodo sees Yuka, this person that he has come to rely on, probably the first friend that he's had since he left his home, walking out in the open toward this person, seemingly that she knows, but the way that this person moves and the lack of response, Wodo can tell that there is something very, very wrong. And so he just calls out, Yuka, move! And he's going to pull back on this huge bow and let an arrow fly across this cavernous space. And as it's flying through the air, that's the only sound, is the rustling of the feathers of this, just kind of like reverberating off of the ice. So I'm gonna trying to use a grasping arrow here. See, that's a 17 on the die plus 10. So does 27 hit?
I mean, it's real damn close, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Just barely though. Just barely hit that
I'm going to
AC.
give it to you.
Okay, cool. So I get to roll normal damage, and then I also do, in addition to that, 2d6 poison damage. So that's 6, 7, 9 plus 5 is 13 damage.
How much of that was poison damage?
The poison damage was 3 of that.
Okay, so
so 10.
Okay,
10 piercing,
points.
3. Oh, and it is a magical weapon as well. I don't know if that matters. This is my be old bow.
Okay. It won't, but this person is unaffected by poison.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That's okay because the poison was kind of the thing that I don't want the poison out of this. I want the speed reduction. So as this arrow flies and as it lands, it's sort of, I imagine it going right through this figure, sort of hitting them in the torso and exiting out the small of their back, and sort of ping, sort of pinning into the ground beneath them. And as soon as it hits the ground, there's this eruption of plant growth, and these thorny vines spring forth, almost like a popcorn like blowing up. This just like. And all these vines wrap themselves around this figure's legs. Her speed is reduced by 10 feet. And the first time she moves, she's going to take 2d6 slashing damage from the thorns.
Excellent.
That was one shot. I'm going to take another shot, I think. Yeah. Ooh, 15 to hit.
Also will hit.
What? Okay. I don't think I can miss with this bow at this point, unless I roll a 1. This is just going to be a normal arrow. 1 on the damage die plus 5 is a 6 piercing damage on that second shot. So before that first arrow hits, Wodo is pulling a second arrow, and it just follows up on the first one. And then Wodo is going to emerge from cover and begin moving toward Yuka as far as I can get.
Okay. Yuka, you're approaching, seeing your friend for the first time in however long it's been. Treshar's trying to shout something at you, but who knows what it's supposed to be. But then, in rapid succession, 2 arrows pierce straight through her torso, coming out the backside, and she, flails with each of these impacts, and then rights herself as if nothing has happened. You can see the holes that these arrows have made, though no blood flows from the wounds. Hodge, return.
Hodge sees things are getting a little spicy, a little dicey. So she, and with your permission, Jeremy, just for the flavor of this, Hodge will take a deep breath and then raise her staff up so that it almost touches the ice above. And the light that was very faint above through the ice almost seems to just descend and grow closer, as almost like the aurora borealis has descended like a blanket on top of the ice, and this beautiful greenish bluish light begins reflecting through the ice and through her staff hole, and then this light shines upon Wodo, and from him a beautiful multicolored, huge shadow is reflected against the side of the cavern, creating a archer form of a starry form. And that's all she can do for her bonus action. However, for her main action, she is then going to pull her staff down that still has some of that excess starlight in it, and she's just going to push it forward and send it flying towards this figure. I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt on her.
I think that is an attack roll.
Yes.
On your part?
It is
Okay.
a ranged spell attack. I got an 18 to hit.
Yep, that makes contact without problem.
All right. She is going to take 12 radiant damage, and she is covered, and this, whatever this is covered in a beautiful mystical dim light glittering around them, and the next attack roll made against this target has advantage.
Excellent. So immediately following the two accurately placed arrows from Wodo, this spell, this starlight, strikes Amka right in front of you, Yuka, and again, there's this staggering back. Probably would have moved her back if not for the thorny, tendrily objects that are wrapped around her from Wodo's arrows. But she still rights herself back up again. You realize, now being this close, having seen her move and shake around, that spear of hers is on her back, except it's in her back. And the tip of it is jutting out from the hip on the front. This seems to almost be like holding her together. Treshar, it's your turn.
Seeing everything so quickly fall apart from this potentially peaceful moment that we were going to have discussing philosophy with another person out in the wastes, Treshar is actually going to he's going to draw his rapier and hop down off the rock that he was on, and he'll head over towards Sannafrett, and just say quietly to her, "Stay behind me." And I want to already an action if I can, or hold an action. Can you hold an action with a spell?
Yes, as long as it is an action spell. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I want to hold a spirit guardian. He's going to start trying, like, singing a protective prayer to trigger when if this thing gets within about 15 feet of us.
So you are moving up beside Yuka? Or are you
I'm going to
Sannafrett?
I'm staying next
Sannafrett.
to
Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
Sannafrett. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of backpedal back behind one of these rocky outcroppings to join Sannafrett, getting the spell ready. Just about the time that you have reached Sannafrett, Treshar, you kind of are playing this song, and you come around this rocky outcropping just in time to grab Sannafrett and move her out of the way, as another figure has approached out of the darkness and is now swinging a hand axe that is easily as tall as Sannafrett downward at her, because this figure is a giant that seems to lumber in the same way that Amka does. There's this... The axe comes down and splinters a piece of ice off of this outcropping that you're standing behind. There's this sickening blue glow to where his eyes seem to be underneath this, what remains of a helmet that seems to be frozen to his body. If you wish to trigger your radiant action, you may do so.
Yes, I will. I would wish. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What does that need from me?
I believe it's going to be a wisdom save. Let me make triple sure.
Wisdom. That's probably not going to work.
Yes, wisdom saving throw. And my
What's the
spell
DC?
save
Oh, there you
DC is 15.
Yep, that's a fail.
Awesome. So I probably should have spent. Oh, that's a third. Well, it's a third level. That's all I can cast it as. So that's going to be 3d8 radiant damage. Oh, great. A 1 and a 2
You can do more.
and a 7.
That's
Okay, so 10.
10.
Yeah, 10 points overall. Not terrible.
Okay. So these
And
spirits.
his speed is halved in the area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So these spirits kind of swarm around as he's kind of swung at this chunk of ice, takes a step back, and is going to try to swing at you instead, Rashar. Oh, he's angered by these spirits, and you can tell that though he doesn't seem to consider his actions carefully normally, now he seems to have no issue with the pain that's being caused as he strikes out at you. What is your armor class?
16.
Okay, then a 17 will in fact hit. Okay. This axe manages to come down and connect with you for 13 points of slashing damage. You can see the ivory that this axe is made of is covered with age and wear, but the blade is still certainly sharp enough, especially in hands as heavy as his, to cause some real damage. Wodo, just at the last moment, you hear a coming up on you, and turn just in time to see another of these figures lumbering out of the darkness towards you. Likewise, raising one of these large axes and bringing it down at you. I doubt an 11 is going to hit you, though.
Nope, looking for 15.
So indeed, you see it just at the last moment, and you manage to move out of the way as this axe comes across just where your head was a moment before and cleaves a part of this rock formation in half. All right. All right. There is a third figure that emerges from the darkness. Haj, closing with you, and is going to raise its weapon up and bring it down upon you. I imagine a 23 will hit you.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, you're going to take 13 points of slashing damage.
Ow.
This axe likewise finds purchase with you. So there is now this figure before Yuka, Amka, as well as these three enormous individuals. Yuka, it's now your turn.
Dang, how things change in one round. Holy moly. So Yuka left her place. She was, running towards Anka, and then chaos just kind of erupts. And the instant those arrows hit Amka, like Yuka just screamed, "No!" And it kind of gets cut off halfway as Amka stands back up again. And I think, Woda, this is probably the first time you have ever seen Yuka hesitate in battle. And she just stops. And the only thing that she can say is, Amka? Questioning this figure in front of her who's, I don't know who this is anymore. Yeah, I think at this point, Yuka is just, she's too shocked to do anything this turn. She is just standing there, lost.
It's in this moment that Amka lunges forward towards you. Had you closed with her, or was there some distance between you?
I would have closed as much as I could have, like, before the battle started.
Okay.
And then I would have gone like half my movement again. I go 45 feet, but
Okay. So she's not actually having to even leave the grasp of these thorned vines that Wodo has put around her to get to you, Yuka, because you had already come so close. She kind of lunges forward, her hood falling back, and you can see that her cheeks have become extremely gaunt and sallow, as well as the space around her eyes. Her lips have withdrawn to reveal her teeth in this kind of permanent grinning grimace. And she lunges forward, bringing a part of this bone up from beside her leg, in trying to swipe it at you. Does a 14 hit you?
yes, that is my AC.
Okay. She will likewise connect, but when she hits, well, I was going to say it's with the strength that you didn't know she had. It's actually 6 points. So it's really not all that.
But it's harder than she's ever hit me before.
That's true. Very much so. So she connects with this piece of jagged bone, slamming it up against the side of your head. And yep, okay. And these vines keep a hold of her, though it doesn't seem like she's in a hurry to go anywhere. Okay. All of you feel the ground beneath your feet trembling and shaking. You can see the columns of ice and rock shaking. Icicles from the ships above break and fall downwards, shattering on the ground here and there around the cavern. You see, not far away from you, the hull of a ship that must have sunk at some point before this cavern emptied. That ship lifts up into the darkness and flies forward, smashing on the pillars of stone and ice around you, again showering down these broken pieces of ivory and bone that formed this ship. There is a roar that fills this cavern. as one of the largest giants any of you have ever seen stomps forward, wearing a large piece of armor on his chest that's barely still hanging on, but is frozen in places to his body. In the center of the chest is a symbol of a crescent moon above a towering peak. This being moves forward with a greater speed than these other creatures, taking great strides with its legs. It brings about a great axe that is easily as long as a human ship. He being almost twice the height of Wodo. He has not yet reached your group. But next turn, he likely will. Wodo, it is your turn.
Okay. So, there was another giant that attacked me with a great axe, I believe. And
it is
so
it would likely be a great axe in your hands, but in his it seems to be like a hand axe.
Okay, all right. So there's the giant that attacked me, the one coming toward us, Big Daddy is what I'm going to call him, and then the elf. And is there any other zombies that I'm missing?
So there are 5 targets, if you will,
okay,
in totality. Yeah, Big Daddy,
yep,
the elf, and 3 other giants.
3 other giants. Got it. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Wodo ducks under this swinging axe. And as the axe comes back around, Wodo sort of brings up the longbow, this old bow, and kind of like parries the axe with it and sort of like brings its momentum around so that this giant has to slam the axe into the ice, and it sticks there in the ice. And Wodo runs up the haft of the axe and leaps over the giant's shoulders and takes off in the other direction. I'm going to take a disengage action. I'm going to go ahead and move 30 feet behind this giant and then turn. And while I'm still coming backwards, I'm drawing back with an arrow, and I'm going to put an arrow into this giant's back. So this is the one that attacked me.
And as you do so, as a reaction, for when Hodge was out talking to her friends, she was consulting her star map and receiving a cosmic omen. And she received a wheel ability. And the light that she summons shines on you, Wodo, and you are covered in this beautiful multi-hued gleaming light. You can add a d6 to this attack roll.
Thank you very much. So that will be 5 added. I rolled a 10, so that's 15 plus 10, 25 to hit this giant.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that'll be 10 piercing damage on that first shot. And then no, I'm going to save my bursting arrow. I'm just going to do another shot. Oh, and I should specify, I'm doing an action surge. That's why I'm attacking and disengaging. I forgot to mention that. So
okay,
first turn,
sure.
Disengage, move, and then action surge. Now I'm attacking twice.
Okay, gotcha.
I had that all planned out in my head, and then I skipped the important part.
You're good.
Ooh, 4 on the die, plus 10, 14 to hit.
That is enough to hit.
Oh my God, I cannot miss. Okay, and that's max damage. That'll be 13 damage to that giant.
Okay. He is staggering, but he is still up.
Okay. Got some movement left. No, I'll just whatever the nearest sort of barrier is between myself and the these undead giants. I'll kind of duck behind it just to catch a breath. I haven't even had a chance to process the fact that the largest of the giants is wearing armor with that sigil on it. I'm in fight or flight mode, and it's one of those things where Wodo takes a breath and decides that he's going to deal with that after he knows that he and his friends are safe.
Excellent. And I think what you managed to find some shelter behind is probably like a broken mast. This kind of like massive bone and ivory that's kind of been grafted into this mast from a ship at one point that must have again sunk while this was still liquid water at some point.
Right. I imagine that there's a sail that's like tattered and it's kind of like half frozen. So it's sort of like just swinging as a sort of this like crystalline sort of cloak looking thing.
Yeah, it's making like this tinkling noise. Sweet. Okay. That was Wodo. Haj, it's your turn.
I have a question, DM. In the world of Hettust, like, are the undead like a thing, or is this like insane? Like, is this some like never before seen?
I don't think it's unheard of, because a lot of Hettust is based on kind of Nordic mythology and culture, and the Dwagar are very much kind of a big, or Dwargar, however it is that it's pronounced, are very much a feature. But I don't think it's a commonplace occurrence, especially seeing like giant ones.
Yeah, this is bad. Okay, so Hodge just whispers to herself, "We have some dark magic afoot. Let's respond in kind." So I've got this big ugly some bitch right on me. This one nasty zombie giant. And then so there's this big daddy coming at us from behind where we came in?
No. So at this point it would be behind Amka, the initial zombie that approached Yuka.
Okay. That changes things. Is this giant that's in front of me within 30 feet of the other giant that's on Treshar?
I think so. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So Hodge is just going to say, "Didn't your mother ever teach you to respect your fucking elders?" And then she lifts up her staff and slams it into the ground below her, and the ice begins to actually crack a bit and spray upwards. And then she just angles her staff so that she carves into the ice just at the right angle so that this can hit both the giant in front of her and the giant on Treshar as she pulls the staff out and forces a wave of water from below to fly at them, breaking through the ice as she casts Tidal Wave on these fuckers.
That sounds big. All right, what do you need?
They're going to need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Ooh.
DC 15.
They're really good at these.
Then it should be easy, right?
Oh, holy shit. Well, okay. One of them rolled a 19, so he'll pass.
I'm going to use the domain dice and make you re-roll that, sir.
Okay, that's going to be two domain dice.
Yeah.
Ooh, but that is a 7 on the die, so that's definitely a failure.
Yeah.
All right, and the second one is a failure as well.
Woohoo! Okay. So they are going to take 4d8 bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone. Oh, perfect. So they're both going to take 23 bludgeoning damage, and they are knocked on their butts.
All right, 23 points. And this was to the one standing by you and the one that was standing by Treshar.
Yes, indeed. And then...
actually, the one that's on Treshar... Oh, wait. Before I say that, hold your horses. How much damage did you do again? 23?
23.
Okay, so this probably ain't gonna work, but... Okay. So, you can describe how your tidal wave kills the one that was on Treshar.
I imagine the first giant is just knocked aside by this giant's gust of water, and then maybe like the cracks that she left start like cracking and like follow up underneath the giant in front of Treshar. Maybe the giant is like raising their axe and just has a moment to look down before like the water pressure under them breaks and like geysers right through their legs and just splits them in two from the sheer amount of water pressure.
Absolutely. And when the two halves kind of hit the ground, they hit and scatter. The bones, like as if there was nothing else but bones and leathery skin that was still holding these things together. They shatter like they've been dried for so long. The ice and bone just splintering into thousands of pieces when the two halves hit the ground.
And then... as Hodge does that, she cracks her neck and then goes, "Hooah!" and then points at the multi-hued shadow of Wodo and turn it on the giant that he was fighting and fire a bolt at him. But wait, there's more. That is going to be an 18 to hit.
Yes.
And that giant zombie is going to take 11 points of radiant damage.
You also... Wait, 11 points. Ooh, okay. Your radiant damage blasts a hole through the center of this giant, likewise scattering the lower several ribs on either side and, shattering the ice that kind of formed and held some of that flesh and armor still in place. And now the only thing connecting his bottom half from his top half is the remainder of his spine. However, instead of falling over, he looks down and then looks up at you with these dimly glowing blue eyes, Haj, and you just hear this and no breath escapes his lips.
Mother. After that, Hodge is just gonna hobble on her staff over towards Treshar, and Sannafrett just and she'll go, "Yuka, you might want to back up. There's a big daddy coming for you." And with that, I end my turn, Kaiba.
All right. With that, Treshar, you're up.
Okay, how close is the biggest cluster of our enemies to each other?
So there is still a... Oh, hold on, wait. Haj, you left engagement with the zombie around next to you that was still alive.
It was knocked prone, though.
Prone.
Ooh, great call. Okay. So it kind of like clamors and grabs for you weakly, but you manage to scuttle away without...
Hodge like leaps over it. Oh, you can't catch old Hodge.
Perfect. Okay, so the one that Haj just left is on the ground. The one that is closest to you, they are at least 20 feet, but not quite more than 30 feet apart from one another. We'll just call it 25. The larger giant is still about 40 feet from Yuka, and that puts him about 35 feet from Yuka's friend zombie.
Okay, that's okay. Perfect. So Trishar will go ahead and resheath his sword and draw his shield out and start strapping that onto his to his hand. But as he does, he's going to try to usher Sannafrett back towards the rope and see if he can get her at least close to closer to being safer, or at least quicker to escape. As soon as I will say, as soon as um, this giant that was within the spirit guardian died, this swirling mass of these sort of otherworldly angelic forms that I'm kind of imagining like 3 foot tall, like 25 3 foot tall versions of Galadriel during the Love Me in Despair moment, like flying around. As soon as that's dead, all of these just flutter straight to one side and are like this kind of almost snarling heavenly choir of this horrible music that is directed directly at the one that's on its feet next to Haj. And after trying to directing Sannafrett towards the rope, Treshar will run with his shield in front of him over to stand next to Haj, or next to this creature that is on the ground, waiting for his spirit guardians to attack it on its turn.
Excellent. Okay. It is their turn. So it is a
wisdom save.
Okay, I remember. A 16?
That is a success. It had to be to 15, but I think he takes half damage. And half damage on this one would be 7 points.
And this is the one that Haj left lying on the ground, and
yes.
Ran away from? Yep. Okay, so 7 points. Okay. Though they swarm over this giant corpse that is still alive, well-ish, it kind of lazily swings its arms at them, while it's also rolling its weight over onto its arm, putting the arm on the ground and standing itself back up. As it does so, you can hear one of the bones in its forearm snap under the weight that it is putting on it, but it still, without any hesitation, raises itself back up to its feet and then is going to turn towards you with this enormous hand axe. Ooh.
Domain dice. Domain dice.
Okay.
No, 30. Use all 30 domain dice.
More domain dice.
We got to burn them up somehow.
I'm gonna let you know that there's not a reason to use them unless a 12 is gonna hit you.
It is not. With my shield, I got a much better chance of avoiding
so
hits.
There you go. So
now.
don't waste the domain die.
Do it anyway, man. Take a chance.
So this thing brings this axe downward, hitting the shield, shing, and kind of like sparking off of the front of it as it collides with the ground near your feet, carving this kind of wedge-shaped hole in the ice of the ground and sending ice up everywhere.
Yes, as Treshar lifted his shield, a few of these spirit guardians seem to like push from below to help deflect the massive strength of this crushing blow.
Awesome. Okay, that was... What is number 3? Number 2 is the one that is still on Wodo? Or was on Wodo, I believe. The one with the massive hole blasted in its middle section here. It has turned its attention on Haj and is now going to lumber over towards you, Haj, and attempt to slash at you with its axe. 15 to hit.
That'll just hit.
Okay. That's going to be 19 points of slashing damage.
Ow. Okay. Ouch. Hodge is not looking good, folks.
Are you okay, Grandma?
I'm going to kill us. Time for some tough yak steaks.
Ew. Much too stringy.
Okay, that was the two of those that are left. Of course, Amka is going to once again try to open up a place for her to feast on Yuka. So she's going to strike out with this jagged bone. Again, recklessly. That's a dirty 20.
Actually, it's 2 domain dice.
Fair. Okay. Okay. Then a 10 I don't think is going to work.
Nope.
All right. She lunges at you once again with this jagged, broken piece of bone, trying to open up a soft spot in your stomach. And it glances instead off of whatever armor it is that you wear, missing you.
Where armor?
A barbarian
maybe
wearing
not.
armor.
Oh, that's true. Just
Bounces
your
off your
toughness.
thick arm hair.
That's right, my glistening biceps.
Thick with 3 C's. Thickness. That's what my armor is. All right. It glances off of you. You avoid it. You take it and push it away. It misses you. That's the gist of what we're getting at. And that is all of them. Yuka, it is your turn.
Yes. Okay, so the first lunge and the visage that she sees has kind of snapped Yuka out of this haze that she's in, and seeing that monstrous being approach behind Amka galvanizes her into motion. As a bonus action, Yuka enters into a rage. And doesn't even recognize Amka anymore standing in front of her. She just kind of pushes past her. So you think, oh, I'm dashing past her. I'm going towards the big daddy, yelling, "What have you done to her?" And I'm going to attack him, but I have to get there first. So I'm going to move. Attack of opportunity. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. She will take a swipe at you. Attempt. It was again reckless. So 21.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Got through the thickness. All right. That's 8 points of slashing.
Okay. 8. Oh, but I'm raging, so I take half. Okay. Yeah, we're just shrugging that off because it's whatever. Her sights, her angry eyes are on the brute in front of her, and she's pulling out her great axe as she's running, and I'm going to recklessly attack this big guy. Oh, that's not die. Okay, advantage. Okay. That will be a 23 to hit.
Will absolutely hit.
Beautiful. Okay, D12.
Is this a normal great axe, by the way?
This is, human-sized great axe.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not magical or anything, though.
No.
Okay.
I don't believe so. No. No, I have a magical quiver. That's what. So that will be 11 plus 2 is 13. 13 points of slashing damage from the great axe.
Okay. That certainly will do some damage, but you notice that, like you're able to slough off some of your wounds, it would appear that this enormous giant has a similar skill.
Oh, I get to attack twice, so I'm going to do
Oh,
that again.
There you go. Probably a good idea.
Okay, so
And as you do so, the light of the aurora shines upon you as you will add a d6 to your attack.
yes, that's exactly what I needed. Okay, so that'll be 19 to hit.
That'll hit.
Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, for another 13 points of slashing.
Okay.
And just in case it matters, he has disadvantage on any attack that isn't against me.
Okay, yep. Well, thank you very much, Colt, for... I accidentally added 2 whenever I saw the bits come in, but it's been rectified. And I have added 1. They have 31 currently. Okay. So, yes, you wail into this guy, and he seems to be tenacious and tough, much the same as you. Similar training, almost. And now that you're close to him, again, he's got to be 22, 23 feet in height. The great axe that he wields is enormous. And you can see as he brings it around that it is made out of dread steel and has a yawning skull emblazoned on the sides of the head of this bearded axe, the blade of which glows with a pale blue light and seems almost as if it might be made of ice itself. He brings this around and is going to attack you twice.
Yeah, and he has advantage because I attacked recklessly.
Ooh. 21 on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna roll stuff first before we go to the second. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You take 15 points of slashing damage, and I need you to make a Constitution save.
Okay, so is that halved to 8 or to 7?
I always round in y'all's favor, in the party's favor, so it'll be 7.
7 damage. And Constitution, you say?
Yes.
Oh, that's a nice roll. 23.
Okay, excellent. So the second attack comes down. And with a 23, we'll hit again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 18 more points of slashing, and you need to make another Constitution save, please.
9 damage. Con. 18.
Again, you manage to shrug off the effects of whatever is going on with this axe. With each strike that manages to connect with you, you can feel the kind of cold that penetrates to the bone, like seeping into your body from where these strikes have landed. But you manage to shrug them off and ignore whatever else was attempting to take hold with these strikes. That brings us back to the top of the round with Wodo.
Okay. Wodo is sort of slides out from behind this this frozen sailcloth, this like crystalline sheet, and he's already pulling back, and he's going to fire an arrow at that that giant that I believe is still standing, the one that I shot at and Haj put a hole through. I think he's still standing. Put an arrow into him. Ooh, I'm gonna use a domain die. Hey, yeah, that's a crit. That's a nat 20. Look at that. With my skull D22, so the 20 is a skull. Fuck yeah, that's so rad. That's my first crit on these dice. And I also rolled max damage. I'm very excited.
Perfect.
Okay, so remind me how your crits work, Jeremy. I think this is my first crit in this campaign.
So, full dice damage plus modifiers.
Mm-hmm.
Roll your die a second time and add your modifiers a second time.
Okay, so 13 and then 7, so 20 damage total. Is that right?
Okay. So this guy was the one with the hole in him. Okay. This time, Death is gonna claim its prize, and he's not going to live through this. So you can describe what it's like when you take him down.
So Wodo is sort of half striding, half running toward this giant. And as he gets close, he pulls an arrow from the quiver, draws back, and goes into like a home plate slide on the ice. And as he goes down, he fires this arrow up, and the arrow just goes up through the bottom of this giant's pelvis, all the way up through its rib cage, dislodging ribs as it goes, and then up through the top of its head, and it just shatters its skull. The head pops off the top of the spinal cord, and all the bones and like desiccated pieces of flesh just crumble. And Wodo comes sliding through like the dust, comes up on one knee and draws out another arrow and is going to fire again. I am aiming at, I think I'm going to shoot at Big Daddy.
Excellent. Okay.
Who's around Big Daddy right now? Most importantly, are any of my allies within 10 feet of Big Daddy?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
then
yes. I'm by his big toe.
Then I'm not going to do my frag grenade shot that I can do. I'm just going to do a regular arrow. 14 on the die plus 10 is 24 to hit.
Absolutely.
And that'll be 11 piercing damage on Big Daddy.
And your bow is magical, right?
It is.
Okay, then he will take all 11 points.
Yeah. Yes, he will.
Okay. Let's see. That was Wodo. Haj, you're up.
All right, so the zombie in front of me got just wrecked by Wodo just then.
Yes, there is still a zombie remaining. I think the one that you had knocked prone and then left behind.
Okay, cool.
And then the one,
the one you blew a hole in is dead now.
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
Yep.
And the one you knocked prone
you're gonna have to narrow it down. I blew a hole in a lot of zombies.
Which one?
Today.
There's a lot of them.
The one you knocked down that's still alive is right next to me and still within my spirit guardian, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
That's okay. Oh boy. Do I just want to go for it? You know, Hodge is, you know what? She's not thinking of herself right now, so she's not going to heal herself. Instead, she's going to reach her staff out through the shining, glimmering ice, and light just falls down on the remaining zombie that is close to Treshar, and is going to cast another guiding bolt. But this time at second level. And that is going to be... Is it still prone?
No, it had stood up
Okay.
on its turn.
Oh, okay. I got a 19, so...
That's plenty.
That is going to be 21 points of radiant damage on it.
Okay. Radiant means that it does not get the opportunity to roll to see if it can remain standing. So you can describe what it's like as this guiding bolt ends this thing.
It's just like being exposed to the sun, just ashes melted away. And then Hodge will just redirect her staff so the little bit of light that shimmered off of the ashen corpse of the zombie flies up and then shoots towards Hodo's shimmering reflection, charges into that. It charges up and aims towards Big Daddy and is just gonna pew fire a arrow at it. As a bonus action. That is going to be a 17 to hit.
Yes, that will hit.
10 points of radiant damage.
Radiant damage. Okay. 10 points. You will also take all of that. But he is still up.
Yeah. And that's all
Okay.
Hodge can do at this point. She's just kind of breathing a bit haggardly.
All right. Treshar, it's your turn.
Yeah, Treshar, seeing the thing in front of him just kind of crumble and no longer as a threat, will turn to Hodge, take a few steps towards her, and place a hand on her shoulder, and just sing a quiet word, and cast a 3rd level healing cure wounds on her. Cure wounds is that gonna be 3d6? I have it up.
I think it's 3d8.
D8, yeah.
And then plus.
So that'll be.
I think it's plus your wisdom.
Oh my god.
modifier.
Oh my god. Okay, so 11 plus my spell casting, which is 4. So 15 points of healing. And then he'll turn his eyes towards Yuka at the feet of this massive giant, and he'll send just this little mote of light that's this sort of vibrating musical bit of energy towards her, and cast a bardic inspiration. So you'll have a d8 to add to something as well.
Excellent. Okay. Let's see. Amka is still up and moving. Now that Yuka has pushed past, even though she was swiping at Yuka, Yuka has moved away towards the largest of these giants. Amka is going to give chase, which is going to cause her to move out of the thorny vines that Wodo has cast over her. Doesn't seem to be paying them any attention whatsoever.
The bill comes due. Do you want me to roll that damage or?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. Awesome. It's gonna be 2d6 slashing damage. 8 damage. Not too bad.
8 damage. You said slashing?
Correct. Slashing.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. 8 points. Okay. There's this awful noise. The noise of leather being torn as she rends herself free from these grasping plant tendrils, just exposing the bones from her thighs down as it tears away the dried flesh that remains. And she stalks forward on these skeletal legs, closing behind Yuka, almost as if she was not even phased by the damage that these things have done to her. Yuka, she comes up behind you and tries to drive this bone fragment spear, if you will, kind of into you. 17 to hit. Yes, okay. It'll be 13 points of slashing. Okay. She comes up and stabs you from behind. And Trishar, did I skip you? Or did you go? You just went, right? You did Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So that brings us to Yuka.
Okay. I think Yuka is going. She's too enraged at this figure that she believes is what the cause of all of this, and so she's going to continue to attack Big Daddy, ignoring the fact that there's somebody poking at her in the back. Again, recklessly. That's a 15 to hit.
That'll hit.
Oh, yay. Okay. For 10 this time. And then the second attack, we're wailing on this calf of this guy, like you wouldn't believe. That would be an 18. To hit for.
18 will also hit.
Oh, that's better. 9 and 5 is 14.
Okay. You are just taking chunks out of the leg of this, of the legs of this individual. He doesn't seem to be quite as dry as these other individuals are, but still just as decayed, just as decomposed. Okay. That was Yuka. Okay, it is his turn. Once again, brandishing this menacing-looking great axe in your direction, he strikes out twice towards Yuka with it. Ooh. He's going to hit critically with his first attack.
So maybe domain dice?
Yeah, we should make a domain for that one.
Probably a good idea.
Honestly, as soon as I hear Jeremy go,
Oh,
I'm like,
domain
domain
dice?
dice, domain dice.
Time to reroll that, yeah.
All right, let's see. You have now 28 remaining. 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right, so a 19 instead.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Okay, still a hit,
But
but
it's
not
not
a
a
crit.
crit.
Okay, fair enough. All right, the lesser of two evils for sure. All right, 16 points of damage, and I need another Constitution save, please.
And as you make this Constitution save, my last wheel ability will give you a D6 on that save.
Oh, holy moly. I really like that save. So that is a 28 to save.
Again, just shrugging off the effects that could be trying to claim more from you than just your blood. The second attack totals out to a 29 to hit.
Yeah, that one's going to miss. Just kidding.
You'd be surprised.
You never know. All right. Okay, that's not super impressive. Ooh, okay. 18 more slashing and another Constitution save.
Okay. 18.
Again, you manage to just barely keep this thing at bay. Whatever it is that's trying to creep into your body at the sight of these wounds. Okay. Wodo, you're up.
Wodo sees the massive weapon of this giant just knocking his friend aside. He sees Yuka bleeding and sweating and clearly hurting. And he actually calls out without even thinking about it. It's a natural reaction, this instinct. He just says, "Yuka, run!" And he's going to continue. He reaches back again, pulling more arrows from the quiver, drawing back. Oh, domain dice. That's a nat 1. That's a 5. So much better. Does a 15 hit Big Daddy?
It does.
What?
Yeah, these guys are not difficult to hit at all.
All right. But they just have a garbage bag of hit points. Okay.
That is very true.
It's stinky. Like the hefty garbage bag that can stretch so you could fit a bunch of shit in there.
Very stinky hit points.
Yes, very stinky hit points. So that's first attack is going to be 9 piercing damage. And then oh man. Oh, I can't save just one attack. I can't do a reaction with just one attack. I would have to do it with the whole action.
Do you have a
save? You're worried
do you have
about,
a point of inspiration?
Yeah, I have 2 points of inspiration.
I will let you spend a point of inspiration to ready the second half of your attack if you'd like.
That's great, Jeremy. Thank you very much. So Wodo fires off this first shot and then slides a second arrow out. He sets it to the bow but doesn't draw back on it yet. He brings the arrow and he speaks words that he does not know the meaning of. And they come out almost soundlessly, but the feathers, the fletching along the back of this arrow kind of sort of flutter as if they're in a strong wind. And these thorns begin growing out of the side of the arrow. I'm going to ready an action if Yuka, let me phrase it this way. If Big Daddy is no longer within 10 feet of Yuka, I'm going to shoot this arrow at him. So I set it to the bow, I draw back and hold it.
So I'm going to pose a question to you. So
yeah,
he is huge size category, which means that he is 15 feet on a side.
Okay.
So could you aim your arrow at the back side of him, opposite from where Yuka is?
So
I don't know how the ability is worded. So
the way that the ability is worded, it's that it's the target and all creatures within 10 feet of the target. So I think it like affects everything within 10 feet. So it actually gives my thing a bigger sphere, basically. But yeah,
absolutely. Okay.
So I don't think I can aim it at the back. But that's a good question. I had to think about that.
Yep. Okay, so that is Wodo. He has pulled back and is holding his last shot. Haj, it is your turn.
Okay. I think we just got to take Big Daddy down. I think it's time to just go full firepower. Hodge just goes, go down, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. And she just starts firing off like beams of light coming out from all around the ice cavern. And she's going to cast Guiding Bolt at 3rd level. That's a natural 20, baby.
All right. That'll absolutely make contact.
Oh, gosh. So how do you do crit damage with spells?
Okay. So all of your dice maxed, as well as any modifiers. And then you roll all of those dice and add any modifiers a second time.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then let me do some quick maths here. So with that on top of the crit, it's going to be 62 points of radiant damage.
So, how does your guiding bolt take out this massive undead giant captain?
I think it's just like it's not one bolt, it's just multiple. It's just all around the creature, like the aurora light around this cavern just starts hitting him from all sides. And it's like, oh god, the image that comes to mind is the end of How to Train Your Dragon 2, when all the dragons are just firing off their bolts at the one big dragon. It's just boom, 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 boom. And like a bunch of smoke and steam comes off of it, and he's just blown to bits by this artillery barrage of radiant magic.
Absolutely. I think the ceiling, like above where he was, like collapses and cracks, parts of the ice and broken ships kind of falling in on top of him to allow this direct light from the lantern bearer and the stars and the aurora above to shine down on this enormous giant as it collapses in a heap.
Rest in peace, motherfucker.
And after the captain is finished, Amka is no more. There is quiet that returns to this cavernous space. And this is where we're going to end tonight's session. Karen, don't you dare. No, I'm kidding. What do you got? What do you got?
No, it's okay.
No,
I don't
please.
have to.
It's a trend now, so
I've got something. If Karen, if you don't want to do it,
Well, I was.
please do. Everybody, bring it on.
So, with the explosion of Big Daddy, the rage kind of leaves Yuka, and she turns and sees Amka like fall down as the corpse she was, and Yuka runs to, well, I guess she was right there, just kind of falls to the ground by this body, and she cradles the bones. And she just starts to cry. Amka, I'm so sorry.
After the destruction of the giant, Hodge just kind of lets out just a low cough and leans against her staff. And then she turns towards Treshar and just goes, thanks. And then she just pulls him in for a big wet kiss.
You just hear him grumbling like, climb down into the ice cavern. Let's get together, have a few laughs. Ugh.
Fish with your toes. Huh. It's my favorite Christmas movie. Excellent. All right. Unless there's anything else, then we'll go ahead and end this. Any other after credit scenes? No, I'm just kidding. You bunch of Marvel motherfuckers.
Nick Fury shows up and he wants to talk to Wodo about the Avengers Initiative. You already got a bow guy. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
The twist was that Fabinon was actually talking to Hodge the whole time.
Everybody, this was awesome. Thank you so much for bringing it again. This game, I'm so thrilled with how this went and how this whole campaign experiment, whatever you want to call it, how this whole ordeal is shaping up. As a reminder, we only have one more full session on each side, and then a single session after that that'll touch on both. And then we'll wrap up the entire story of this campaign. So I'm very excited to get to what we have left still to cover, and how these two different stories are going to continue to intertwine and touch on one another. It's been a lot of fun so far. Hopefully it continues to be so. So thank you everyone who tuned in this evening. Whether you're watching live with us here on MiniTerrainDomain, or whether you're watching at some point in the future, either here or over on YouTube on the Erasmus Expeditions, it is very, very much appreciated. Sub, like, share, comment, all those good things. Again, either here or MiniTerrainDomain, or over on the YouTube channel whenever this is loaded up this weekend. I love you guys. This has been fantastic so far. Thank you to these 4 fantastic players, and we miss you. I'm so hoping that in 2 weeks we get to see your shining face once again. But yeah, I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can say goodnight, plug anything else that they would like to plug, etc., etc. And then we're going to call it an evening. So we're going to start in reverse order with Jackson.
Thank you all once again. I'm Jackson Johnson. I run the group Initiative Entertainment. We have our podcast, Maelstrom. Check us out. We'd really appreciate it. We're new, and we could use all the help we can get because we want to just keep telling our stories as great as this one. Jeremy, this campaign's always great. I always love playing games with you. And to all of you guys, you're some of the most awesome players I've ever had. And these characters, this world, this setting, this chemistry, it's all beautiful. I love this game, and now I'm just kind of sad. It's like, oh, we've only got a few more sessions left. I kind of don't want it to end. Oh, but anyway, that's all I got. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very much going to be sad whenever this is all said and done. But all good things come to an end. A story is only as good as its ending, in my opinion. So we're going to make sure to send it off in style, I'm sure. Speaking of sending off in style, Austin.
Much appreciated from the master of segues. I don't have a lot to add. I'm always psyched to play in this game, and any game that Jeremy runs, or any game that any of you lovely people are in, because it's always a blast, and it's always so great getting to dive into characters with y'all, because it's always interesting, and this side is so much less dark and seems sillier than the other side, and I kind of love that. It just has a different energy, and like it's funny that the other game is that like very serious, and we're all like doing our like yes, we're all upset about things and we're acting, and this one we're like, you motherfucker. Like it's a great contrast. Like we're both of the drama and comedy masks with this game, so it's a hell of a lot of fun. So I always look forward to it. Thanks.
That's a great way to put it. This is both a comedy and a tragedy. Welcome. All right. That would not make a good segue, so I'm not going to make that segue. Matt, you're next.
Come on, do it. You got to do it. I'm disappointed that you didn't do it.
Speaking of a great comedy and tragedy, Matt.
Yes, thank you so much. Hey, everybody. I'm Matt. and I run a YouTube channel called A Fistful of Dice. I also wrote a game called The Mecha Hack. And if you like The Mecha Hack, this book is coming out soon. How do you guys all have your copies of Mecha Hack just like ready to go? It's like,
again, I read
an
it
emergency.
Monday, so
it's in like a clutch holster in case there's a mecha game that needs to happen.
This is the
It's
easiest
never
game I
far
have
away.
to run.
Got my
It's the easiest game I have to run. It sits right next to my
Oh
play
my
space.
God.
got
I
my
love it.
quarantine mecha hack pack on standby.
There you go. Anyway, this is coming out soon in print. I'm very excited. And go check out the Ironsworn Starforged Kickstarter as well. This campaign is so much fun. I'm having such a blast. This is like the first D&D like campaign I've played in a long time. And it's just been so much fun. Wonderful players, really cool setting, and like you just can't ask for a better game master than Jeremy Lilly. So thank you everyone for watching and for hanging out with us, and can't wait to play Sentient Praying Mantis in a couple weeks.
That's extremely kind, Matt. Thank you very much for the kind words, all of you. Last, but certainly not least, speaking of extremely kind, Karen.
Oh, thank you. I'm Karen. I have the YouTube channel called Myth and Gears. On a little bit of a hiatus right now, but hopefully we'll get back there in a bit. I want to echo what all these guys have said. This is an amazing game. I think part of it is also because it is so short and we're all going to miss it so much. We're playing with our hearts, like 100%. Love this game. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. You guys all said it so well. I cannot wait for the next session in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank all of you so very, very much from the bottom of my heart for playing in this game, and for every time we sit down, completely and totally diving in headfirst, taking ownership of your contribution to the setting and just bringing it with these wonderful, wonderful characters, and allowing me to torture you with the stuff that you gave me at the beginning of the campaign, and being good sports about it, which is even better. Yeah. Next week, don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain Jasper's Game Week kicks off this weekend-ish or Monday. So stop by this channel, give them your love, donate, cheer, gift subs, all of the things that are going to go to a phenomenal cause to raise awareness for the prevention of suicide. I can't think of a better cause. Go ahead.
They have some
please.
really, really incredible players and GMs coming up.
Yes.
It's worth your time if you like watching live plays. Like, they got some people that you're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Like
for
one
real.
of those situations. It's great.
Yeah, like a lot of the people that I without hesitation, would consider celebrities, and not just within the RPG community even. I want to say Matthew Lillard is involved.
Shaggy did it last year.
Yeah. And I think Deborah Ann Wool is involved as well. I don't know if Satine Phoenix is involved, but I think she might be. Patrick Rothfuss, ?
Yeah, I think Satine Phoenix is. I think she's running something to for her. She has a Kickstarter going right now for Battle of the Bards.
Sweet.
I think she's running stuff for that for Jaspers.
Awesome. And then I think not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, I think Paizo is kind of taking the baton and is going to be running a ton of Pathfinder. I don't think it's going to happen here on MiniTerrainDomain. I'm fairly certain that that's not the case. But it's all kind of part of the one big week-long celebration. I think it's even supposed to be like 24/7 because there's going to be a team in Australia that's going to take it whenever the people here stateside go off the air. So it's a very, very big event. So yeah, come join the raffles, donate money, show love, show support, laugh, cry, watch people play games. It's going to be fantastic. So I think that's it from us. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of the week. And until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.